everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and I am a full-time reseller. On today's video, it is my What Sold Wednesday video. I keep posting these early. The last one I had scheduled it and I wasn't thinking, and I scheduled it for the following day from when I filmed it. So I gotta be better with that because I always put it out and then people are commenting and I'm like, how is this video even out yet? So this one should come out for the first time on Wednesday. It will be for Mercari, Poshmark, eBay, and Depop. I did have sales on all 4 platforms. It is for the week of May 19th through the 25th. Was that Memorial Day weekend? Yes, so that would have been like Memorial Day weekend, not including that Monday, which it was a little slow. I didn't really anticipate a lot of sales. Normally people are out there, you know, going to parades, going to barbecues, they're with family, friends, they're not really shopping online. So looking at my notes, Mercari's been really slow. I've just kind of been saying that. Only 2 sales there. Poshmark was slower, 13. eBay was kind of slow too, only 13 sales. I do still have my 15% coupon for that week. And then Depop was the winner this week. I did have, what does this say, 15 sales and over $300 in sales on Depop, which is good because most of my items on Depop do kind of sell for a little bit less just because the clientele there, they're not looking to spend a lot of money on items, but I do still get some higher dollar sales on Depop depending on what the item is. All right, so I will scoot over and we'll get started with Poshmark. This was a Jessica London black semi-sheer. It was a little bit longer length, so a tunic. I called it a special occasion classy tunic. It was a 20W, so a bigger size. I'm always kind of on the lookout for these items just because I think that there is a market for it, for more of like these modest looking tops for maybe more mature women to go to special occasions, weddings, Christmas, church, that kind of stuff. So at the bins, I'm always kind of looking for those. This did end up going for 22. Was the sale of the week. This was, what was the brand? Sparkle, I think it was. Yeah, Sparkle. I've never heard of it before. It looked like a Y2K tag. This had like that peachish, pinkish, orangish kind of color scheme and a size 10, definitely a prom style dress. It feels like it's a little late for prom, but maybe they're going somewhere else. I don't know. It did lace up in the back. That seems to be very popular with the prom dresses, and it did go for 50. Next is Future Collective. This is sold at Target. I picked this up at the bins, mainly based on the style of it and the size. It was a crocheted swim cover-up. You could maybe wear it as a dress. It's a little sheer. You'd have to wear something underneath it, but it was an extra, extra large, excellent condition, and it did go for 18. These were a pair of Levi's, the 726 Flare High Rise. It was a darker wash, a plus size 24W. These did come from the bins as they were in really good condition, a good style, and they did go for 29. This was a Sundance swimsuit. Unfortunately, the size tag had been removed, so I had to look at other swimsuits that were similar to this style and kind of go off the measurements that other sellers had, and I measured it out to be about a large. It was really pretty. It was very boho. It had this like little tie detail where it almost looked like a wrap style. It had like a mismatched boho print, and it did go for 30. This was a pair of Ann Taylor pants. They were new with tags, size medium, a wide leg crop. I think I'm kind of done with Ann Taylor. I've tried a couple different things with this brand and it doesn't move very well. It's obviously very oversaturated. Newer styles still kind of sit for me. It would have to be something like pretty substantial for me to get, maybe even something I could throw some keywords in. This was a pair of Dickies flare leg cargo scrub pants. That's another category I'm kind of done with is scrubs. Even figs, I feel like is sitting for me unless it's like something really great. I think I'm just kind of done with it. If I happen to find like figs new with tags or something like that, then I would probably look into the style a little bit more, but this is definitely something I'm not gonna like go out of my way for. I still did get $20 for these. This was from the brand Panity. Never heard of it. It definitely has like grungy, witchy vibe, very boxy. It had like longer length sleeves. Like I think if you put this on, it would cover most of your hand. This was a size medium. It was a velvet burnout, which is still doing well for me. Picked up at the bins, I would assume this was from. And it had a boat neck, so a little bit off the shoulder, and they did go for 25. This was a J. Jill lot. I pulled pretty much all of my J. Jill tops that were not plus size, and I either sent them to ThredUp, or if they were like a similar size, put them in a bundle. These were all mediums. I did have it going for $40. The lady that bought it said, you know, I'll give you $30. I'm just really not into all of the tops. I didn't want to take one out and have to deal with that. So I was fine with $30. I'm assuming all of these came from the bin, so I didn't really have too much into it. She was really happy with it. She got 4, you know, J. Jill tops for $30. Going forward with J. Jill, I think I'm done with the tops unless they'd be like linen and plus size, or something kind of like this. I'd have to find some, you know, pretty great pieces to put together. But even that, I don't know about J. Jill. It really kind of is sitting. Okay, so next up was the brand, I don't know how you pronounce this. It looks like Martha, but it has an extra E in there. I don't know. I found this at the bins. Originally, I was going to send it to Plato's. It did have boning, like a true corset, and laced up in the back. But I thought, you know what, I better just Google it. I believe this is an Amazon brand. This dress sold within a week. It was a size medium, and it did go for $30. So I'm glad I looked into it, just because, you know, at Plato's, I probably would have gotten, I don't know, $4 for it probably. So that's definitely something that I do look for. If it's on Amazon, I'll see how much it's going for. If it's not a lot, then I'll send it to Plato's. But if it is like more than $50 on Amazon, I am completely fine with selling those dresses or those items for like $20 to $30. This was from the brand Audi. This was a plus size sweater that looked like the American flag. It was a 3X, what was it? 2X, 3X. Very, very soft. It was kind of more of like a muted color palette with this one. I don't know where this came from. I think that this came from the bins, or it came from 80% off at that one store, and it did go for $20. This was an Aero swimsuit. I believe that's from Aeropostale. I probably would not get this again. If I did, I'd probably just send it to Plato's. I liked the design on it. It was a size medium. It did have that lattice cutout on the side. I thought maybe that would help it. But this sat for quite a while, and it did end up going for only $15. And then the last item to sell on Poshmark was that CJ Banks denim jacket. I know I showed this in a haul. It had that big floral embroidery on the back. It had a lot of stretch. It was a size 1X, and it did go for $20. Now into Mercari, this was a pair of Old Navy, the black Power Soft leggings. These were high rise, size 3X, so a really good size. They were in really good condition, and these ended up going for $20. And then the only other item to sell on Mercari, these I actually picked up at Savers. I think they only had like $5 on them, which was very surprising to me. They are Flying Monkey, which that brand I don't think is as popular as it once was, but the style here, I probably would have picked this up regardless of the brand, as long as it was in good condition and it was like quality material. It laced up in the front. It had a huge flare at the bottom. So I knew I could put some of those keywords in there. These sold pretty quickly for $30. This is from the brand Liverpool. I don't know too much about this brand. Back in the day, I used to be able to sell a lot of their career pants. They were very similar to Beta brand. I've sold a lot of their blazers. Those do well. The denim that I've had seems to sit. These I've had since last summer. I thought maybe the style would pull some people in. They were cropped. They kind of had this like fringy type detail at the bottom. They were a size 14, so a good size, but they did finally go for $24.65. Next was a Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street. It was striped, it was cropped, a size small. I saw this at the thrift store. It was on sale for $1.99. I probably shouldn't have picked it up, but I will never leave anything Nightmare on Elm Street behind. It's my favorite movie, so I did pick it up, anticipating I probably would not make a lot of money off of it. I did have it listed for $17, which is probably too high in anticipation for offers, and it did go for $12.01. So my mom is a clearance shopper, if you are new to the channel. She finds a lot of deals, and she will either have me try and sell them or have me find somewhere to donate things. So these were this was a pack of pantyhose. They were a bigger size in a beige. I thought I'm just gonna see what, how much they'd go for on eBay. These sold the next day that I listed them. I do have a couple more pairs, different sizes, that have had zero interest. So I don't know if I just happened to hit the right person. It did have 4 pairs in this box, and they did go for $8.49. Honey Love, I say it every time, it's my favorite bra shapewear type brand. This was a 2X. It was white. I think this came from the bins, honestly. A really good size, and this one sold the next day after listing, and it did go for $29.75. This was from the brand Cherokee. It was a really pretty baby blue. It was linen, button front, kind of had a legging look to it, a size 2X, so a really good size. I know this came from the bins last summer, and it did go for $24. This was a pair of Joe's jeans. I honestly don't know where these came from. I'd have to look, because when someone bought them, I had like that pit in my stomach. So I was like, I have no idea that I even had these. So I really hope I still have them in my inventory. They were a curvy boot cut in a size 30. I'm assuming it came from the bins. Let's see. And they did go for $27.20. This was a Tommy Bahama top, women's. It was 100% silk, a bigger size, a size 14. It was sheer in this really pretty like orangish golden color. It did have like a floral print, button front, and this one did go for $20. This was a Disney Parks dress, like a little fit and flare dress. It had kind of like a groovier 70s type design to it, tie-dye. It was a smaller size, an extra small, so I thought it might sit for a while. But I figured somebody could wear this at the parks. It's like a real easy outfit to put together. Let's see. This did go for $20. This is from the brand Coolie Bar. I don't find this brand too often in my location, but sometimes I do. Whenever I do, I will pick it up as long as it's in good condition. I believe that their brand is kind of known for the sun protection, outdoor, like summer type outfits. This one had a hooded, it was a hooded pullover, dress cover-up type deal. It was a size extra large, and it was new with tags. And this one did go for an offer of $42.50. This was a pair of shorts from Pink by Victoria's Secret. I got these at the thrift store just a couple weeks ago. I think there were 3 pairs. They were all in extra, extra large, which is a great size. I don't find that very often in Victoria's Secret. They were a newer style. They were the like pull-on shorts that have the liner that is attached. They honestly looked like someone bought them, maybe tried on one pair and was like, I don't like the way they look, and then they just ripped the tags off. Because they did still have like the, what do I want to call it? Like the thread that's in the back waistband, that tag probably fit over the waistband. That was still intact on all 3 pairs. They were in really good condition. I've had quite a bit of interest on these brown pair, and I think the like neon yellow, but these were the first ones to go for $21.50. This is a J. Jill top. It is a large, so it's not quite in the criteria that I said I wanted to be in, but this one did have a really pretty design on it. It was linen, 3/4 sleeves, very spring, summery, and this one did go for $17. This was a Rails dress. This came in a Quick Lots box like years ago at this point. I did mark down all of the Rails dresses that I still had just because they have been sitting forever. This one had like a little bit of a texture to it. It was only an extra small. And it wasn't new. I'm assuming it was like new without tags. This was getting ready to be pulled to go to ThredUp, but it did go for $25.50. And then the last item to sell on eBay, this was a Chico's top. Kind of like an open front cardigan with like a high-low type hemline. This was a smaller size. It was a small medium. I mainly picked it up based on the style of it, not so much the brand. This had a really pretty watercolor floral type design, perfect for resort wear if you're going on vacation, a cruise. This would be perfect for a cover-up. And this one went for $23.80. So now on to Depop. This was from the brand Trixie. I think they made quite a few like homecoming type dresses. This definitely is kind of giving like the Deb, if you remember that store. That's where I got all of my prom and homecoming dresses. This one had a really pretty teal and cream colorway to it. It had that bubble skirt that I feel like people are like 50-50 on. Either you hate it or you love it. But I do see that the bubble skirts are kind of making a comeback a little bit. This one was a size small. It was picked up at the bins, and it did go for $16. Next up was a bundle. It was 3 pieces. It was a Donna slip dress. That one I think was sold within 2 days of listing. Then another, I came from Amazon. That's where I found a stock photo of it. It had kind of like a witchy Renaissance type look to it. It had lace, but the lace looked like skulls. It was a size 3X, which was more equivalent to like a 1X, and then a vintage Coldwater Creek button front, semi-sheer, all over print top. The three of them went for $66. This was another item that sold the same day that I listed it. What was the brand here? Joseph A. Doesn't really mean much to me. This definitely had more of a 90s tag on it. It was in this really pretty burnt orange crochet. It definitely had some like 70s type vibes to it. It was open front, boho, kind of witchy, like the more lighter color witchy. And this one did go for $28. This was another item that sold very fast. This was from the brand Faded Glory. It was a plus size 26-28, so a really good size. I like to find some of the bigger sizes just because not everybody can find it normally in these style-based items. This was very Renaissance. It was witchy. It had those bell sleeves. It had velvet. It laced up in the front, had semi-sheer sleeves on this one, and it did go for $24. This was from the brand Legendary. I originally was going to send this to Plato's, but I thought, I'll try it. It was a Henley thermal with a deer print on the front, and then the back didn't have anything. It did have little elbow patches, and it was a size large. This one sold pretty quick too, and it did go for $17. This was from the brand Allison Shea, size 18, so a little bit bigger of a size in this like green, like this muted green tone. It was all one piece, but it was a dress and like a vest that went over it, all connected. It tied in the back. It had plaid. It had floral. Let's see. This one did go for $30. This one I just showed in that haul. This is from Maurice's, that ombre type style on the baby doll tank top, size large. This one did go for $22. This was an Angie skirt. I do pretty well with this brand. It seems to be kind of more of like a quirkier type brand. It has a lot of floral, a lot of mismatched patterns, kind of like hippie-ish type look. This was a size 2X. It had like a rainbow type print going on, pull on, and this one did go for $22.70. This is from the brand Studio 1940. I've sold tops from this brand, skirts and dresses. This was in that really pretty soft pink and white, kind of like a textured material. It was an extra large, so another good size. More of an A line on the skirt here. Let's see. And this one did go for $20. This was from the brand Kokomo. Didn't really mean much to me. This was a style-based pickup. It had that grungy kind of purple, gray, greenish, black tones to it. It tied in the back. It had flutter sleeves. This was a size extra large, and it did go for $22. This is from the brand David Dart Sport. Never heard of it. Tag definitely looked 90s Y2K. This was a shorter skirt, maybe like knee length-ish, but it was very preppy looking with this bright pink and like a goldish yellow. Very girly, size large, and this one went for $18.70. This next one was actually from the brand Shein. I do make sure to put that in there just so people know, like, that's what the brand is. I don't pick up anything that's very flimsy or feels like it's going to fall apart. Weirdly enough, some of the Shein type stuff does have decent quality. This one I knew I could use a bunch of keywords for. It had a big bell sleeve. It was semi-sheer. It tied in the front. Very boho, very Stevie Nicks. And this one did go for my full asking price of $18. Going into next week, like I say every week, I will continue with my listings. I did get another warning from Poshmark. I deleted 3 items. That's all I did. It said that I was excessively blah, 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 blah. So I just waited that day and in another entire day to delete any. And I'm still just going in anything that sells on a different platform. Some of them I will delete, like maybe 2 a day again until I feel comfortable that I'm not going to get that warning. And I am just erasing the entire title and just putting that for sale. Some of them I have replaced the photo and it just with the word sold. The whole thing is dumb, but when I was doing that, I was like, well, this is just stupid because now it's going to get shared when my closet is shared because it's an active listing. So I don't know. They need to figure this out because it's just, I don't want to go on a rant about this again, but it's just very time consuming for me to have these lists and all this other stuff of like things I need to delete because I can't just delete it. So I'm, like I said before, I am playing by their rules because I do want to still be able to list on Poshmark. it was very hard because when I was suspended, I needed to list somewhere originally so that I could cross-list with Flip. I don't do anything on my computer when it comes to listing. I do everything on my phone. So I chose Mercari to make my original listings. Ugh, I did not like that. I had a very good routine with Poshmark because that's where I had listed everything before. So having to switch to a different app to make my original listings, I do not want to have to do that again. I would prefer to keep it within Poshmark. So I don't know. I haven't heard any updates that they have even brought up the issue with anyone. It still seems people are still getting suspended. They're still getting warnings. So I don't know. I guess we'll just see how that goes. This current week has actually been pretty busy. Monday on Memorial Day, not too busy. So I'm filming this on Thursday, the 29th. Yesterday was actually really busy. I think I had 18 sales on different platforms besides Mercari. Mercari has been dead for me. So I don't know. I don't know if people are just in the mood to spend money, if they're getting ready for vacations. It didn't seem like anything was standing out to me. Like as a popularity of an item, you know, it wasn't just swimsuits or dresses or anything like that. It was just kind of all over the place. I have been watching videos on people that are selling books. That's kind of a new category that I want to look into. The only issue is I don't really have anywhere in town that I know of right now. I'm trying to do some research that sells books for fairly cheap. A lot of places, I think the cheapest I can get them would maybe be like $2, which is still a little bit high. I'm not really looking so much at selling books on eBay or selling books. That's probably the only place I would sell them on eBay. This is a little bit different. I will pop up the app. I can't remember what it is right now, but it's a little scanning app and I don't know too much about it. I'm still learning. So if I say something wrong, please correct me in the comments below. But the app, you can scan books and then it will let you know how much money you can make by sending them into these other companies that sell the books. I believe that that is how that works. So that is something that I'm definitely interested in. I'm always looking for different avenues to make money because like we know with Poshmark, any of the platforms or any way that you are currently making money, that could end at any time for any reason. So I want to make sure I have different avenues open where I can make money. And if I'm understanding this correctly, it would just be me, you know, accumulating these books, putting them in a box, sending them, and I believe you get paid right away. Like I said, I'm still looking into it. That intrigues me because it's not taking up a bunch of my time. It's similar to ThredUp. I'm putting something in a box, sending it off, and then I will get money. So that's something that I am, you know, taking a little bit of my time to kind of familiarize myself with what kind of books I'm supposed to be looking for, how the app actually works and how it, you know, how I would get paid through all that. So that's something I'm working on. So my question for you guys this week, are there any categories that you guys are kind of looking to branch out into or just recently did? I think with this business, it's always good to just kind of keep your eye out on different things that you can maybe, you know, make money on or different categories you can learn more about that you find frequently in your area. So let me know below if you are currently looking at, you know, a different category to sell or if you did just recently start selling something new. And as always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.